Not only is it Distracted Driving Awareness Month, April 8th happens to be Distracted Driving Awareness Day. And that's why New Haven Police were out on these steps to inform people of a new initiative in order to enforce and educate. It's a common occurrence you see just about anywhere. People taking a look at their phones while walking, biking, or even driving. It's those moments behind the wheel that take your eyes off the road that prove costly.
People being distracted on our roadways is a major problem, and there's no age group. It's common for everyone.
Distracted driving is the #1 cause of accidents in the United States. In the city of New Haven, it accounted for just under 5,000 accidents in 2020. 19 of those were fatal.
The ones that obviously hit the hardest are where we have fatalities, whether it's pedestrian, a bicyclist, motorcyclist, or another operator of a motor vehicle.
A grant through the nationwide Distracted Driving Enforcement Program, Connect to Disconnect, is allowing New Haven Police to step up enforcement on some of their more dangerous streets.
On Howard Avenue, Foxen Boulevard, Grand Avenue, Whaley Avenue, as well as other major roadways in every district.
Along with increased enforcement comes programs to increase pedestrian safety. 13 pedestrians were struck and killed in the city last year. 11 of those were by distracted drivers. One of those projects includes a proposal that would sell that part of land to the state in order to allow the DOT to add additional safety features here along El Agracia Boulevard. One of those including just adding signal crosswalks. Along this street over the last year, 4 people were killed just last year and another on Thursday morning.
But we got to be vigilant. We got to be monitoring each other, reminding our family, reminding ourselves that you could make a mistake that cost someone a life.
Distracted driving isn't just with your phone. It's anything that takes your eyes off of the road. If you were caught doing so, you face a minimum of a $150 fine. Just remember that text can wait. In New Haven, Dave Puglisi, Fox 61 News.